Hey everybody, Stacy here. So today I'm going to be talking about the game of Codenames. And for this video, I'm going to be specifically talking about the role of Spymaster. So after playing this game so many times online, which I think it's a fun game that you can really learn how people think, and it forces you to think about these these simple words in so many different ways, but I see people struggling sometimes to bring things together. And I see also a lot of times where people are making some really um, obscure connections that is tough for their team to guess. So with that, I came up with a little bit of a template and something that people can use. And I thought I'd also talk about what it means to associate these words together and also talk about ways that you can help your team to be more focused and on target. So let's take a look at a board. Okay, so here I have a general code names board, and over here you can see I'm Spymaster over on the red team. And we have these words. So when you become Spymaster, what should be the first thing you do? So in my group, we work on a timer, so you want to make sure that you're using your time wisely. So the way I would suggest is to start out, let's look and see what that assassin card is. Okay, here it's hat. So I also have come up with a handy dandy little code names board that I'm going to make downloadable. So in this situation, I have it here. The assassin card is hat. So we want to watch out for anything that's associated with the word hat. So now to start out, let's actually write down and my Excel board is still a work in progress here. So bear with me. So let's see. What will we associate hat? So what's the definition is what my first column here says. And so this is something you wear on your head is a hat. What does it do? It provides protection to your head from the sun. Okay. Usually, let's see, we can say what it looks like, what color it is. It can change color. Not every question will pertain, will be answerable for every word, depending on what it is. And let me just do some wrap text on this up here. Okay. So, what is it made out of? Well, it could be made out of I don't know if they make them out of polyester. I'm not exactly sure. Somebody else may know that. Is it a person? It's not. So we have some general thoughts. Wrap that text there. So where would you wear it? You would wear it outside. So now these three questions that I just answered for this word is what I would call close proximity to what a hat is. Okay, so when you're thinking about your words, you want to think in terms of the distance of, how far in relation is it. So what we would consider, let me write this down, close relation is by describing it, thinking about what it does, what color it is, where it's typically used. Now, when I say that, that's also most generally speaking, okay? So we're going to think about that, but let's move on and let's look at our other words because now we know we have hat over there. So now what I'm going to do right here, and I just want to move this up here. Again, this is a work in progress. We're all doing this together. Okay, beautiful. Okay. So here comes my words. So let's take a look. The first thing I do when I'm Spymaster, and since we're Spymaster over here on red, is I write down my words. So we're going to type them up because we're going to fill out the chart, but of course you can print it out, do whatever's going to work best for you. But I also hear some people get frustrated, oh, I can't link this word and that word. And I think sometimes that may be because they have not written them down. So I get 4 minutes on my clock as I am the Spymaster, and that happens to be with my group. Everybody has a difference, and everyone's different in how they play, which is, that's totally fine. So we're just writing our words down. And why do we do that? Because we can then manually group them and rewrite them and look at things together in different ways that we may not see as we are just looking at the game board. And that's not cheating or anything. So let's see. So I'm going to now type up my words. I'm using my handy dandy chart. Okay, I've got hook, house, bowl, Hawaii, okay, glacier, mother, Cleopatra. Oh, I misspelled. Oops, type on Cleopatra. And if I can get that in, I think I got that right. Okay, nurse, seal. Okay, so what am I going to do first? Okay, I've written down my words. I'm feeling pretty good about this particular set, so that's pretty cool. Now, what I can also do is what we also want to do is eyeball what the other words are, because we're going to try and stay away from them. We don't want our teams to pick the blue teams. We don't want them to pick the assassin card, and we do want to not have them pick the neutrals if we can help it, right? Okay, so some things I'm noticing here. So let's take a look at our words, and then what we'll do is we will then measure it against what's out there on the board. Okay, so some things that stood out for me. Okay, so think person, place, or thing. Okay, so I see some people here. A mother is a person. Okay, so let's see, I'm just going to pull that out. Right here, I'm reorganizing my words, which I can do because I've written them down. Okay, so a nurse is a person. Okay, we're trying to see, because here's what my initial, whoopsie, oops, I put that in the wrong spot. I'm thinking about using the clue person. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can do that or not. Not sure, but and I see Cleopatra was also a person. So let's see, I'm going to cut that. So right now, I have these three terms grouped, and I'm looking here so I can say, what is the definition? So I don't have to do a formal definition of a mother, but I could. And what I can say is this is a person, person, person. Okay. So I have a clue. Oh, I may be able to use person, but I have to see what else is out there on the board. Now let's see. What is this? Let's take a look here. Whoops. And I keep doing I keep insert instead of cut. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So what is a seal? Animal. Okay. Now, if you're going to ask me, is it a mammal? Is it a fish? I think I'm going to say animal. Okay. Remember in Codenames, sometimes you want to come close enough, because maybe not everyone knows off the top of their head how to classify it, but I'm going to go with animal here. Okay, glacier. What's the definition of this word? Well, block of ice is what I'm going to say is a easy way to do it, right? Block of ice. And now let's see, Hawaii. Well, this is a place, right? It's a state, one of the US states, or it's an island, right? Okay, so we have a few things that we can use there. A bowl, okay. Let's see, well, so you have a few different types of bowls. You have a something you can eat soup out of, or cereal, so something you eat out of, aka a dish. All right, for food, what does it do? It's used to put food in. Now, let me look at this one other thing. Do I have it in here? Okay, so let's think about this. And let me see, I just want to make these, see, make sure we're wrapping our text here. Be good. So we can get it to all fit. Okay, so one other thing I like to say, is this part of a compound word? Because remember, sometimes we don't always want to think only about definitions, but is that a compound word? Well, a Super Bowl could be a compound word, so we could put Super Bowl, right? So maybe at some point we can give the clue super. All right, so let's see. Let's keep going here. Okay, a house is where you live. Now you would want to avoid home for house because it's the same first two letters. We don't want to use that. So where you live, and it's a place. Okay. So let's see. And then a hook. A hook could be something. Now let's see how we're going to describe, define hook. Well, we can do another one of those compound words. We can say Captain Hook, right? From the cartoon, the movie. Let's write it correctly, Captain Hook. Okay, so maybe we want to use one of those words. We're going to see if we can do that. A hook could be something, what is it made out of, right? We have a question like that. What is it made out of? Typically, I think metal, but I think you can have plastic hooks too. Metal, maybe plastic. Now I'm not sure what else. Okay, I'm the Spymaster. Now, should I be giving clues with what makes sense to me or what makes sense to my team? Okay, so sometimes I think we give things that make sense to us, but is it general enough to make sense to our team, the people who have to guess? So that's something else we want to keep in the back of our mind. So now for hook, what industry is it in? I can use the fishing because you have your fishing hook, right? You can use a hook for fishing, but I'm not an expert in it. There's maybe people who are, there may be people who know in depthly, but can we assume that? I can't assume it. I can't assume it. I don't know. So let's see. Let me give some lines because I like my lines. They make me happy. Woo, there they are. Beautiful. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, so now I have my ideas, but remember, we're working on a clock, so we need to make sure we're zipping this along too as we're doing it. So I'm going to group these. I'm going to color code those. Okay, I'm thinking about this. Let's go back to our game board and take a look. All right. So here on our game board, we now are going to see, I'm going to check first. I want my strategy is to give any large number clues that I can. So what's the largest number clue that I see that I could possibly give right now? Well, I can give person for 3. Let's see if that will work. I'm going to double check that one first against the game board. Okay, so now person, you could say, well, let's check it against that assassin. A person wears a hat. So, and I'm going to talk about being an operative at some point as well. I'll make a video on that. But you have to remember, a person wears a hat. But what's closer to actually being a person? So being a person would be having to be that person, not just wearing something. Okay. So talk about nuances of that. Now, I can see right now, mermaid for person might throw my team off. Okay. Now I said person, but mermaid, is half person, half fish, so they should question that based on that, because I didn't say swimmer, I might say swimmer instead for mermaid, but let's keep looking. Let's see if we have any other people in either blue or neutral out on this board. Okay, so we've got a conductor. A conductor is a person, okay? Or it could be a wire conductor, but it can be a person, a train conductor, okay? So I see my person might not be strong enough. Let's take a look. Then we've got house, cube, let's see, glacier chart, face. A person has a face. That could throw my team off, okay? Then we have monkey, let's see, okay. Bride, okay, bride's gonna mess me up right here. I can see it already. So we've got bride messing us up. Okay, all right. So let me go back over. Okay. So mermaid, my team should question if I were to give the clue person. Okay, so we have three, so we have conductor out on the board. And we have bride. Okay. So now I can even say women, because you have a lot of women typically being, not typically, I don't really like to generalize, but women are often nurses. I mean, even if I said woman, my team would most likely say mother, Cleopatra, and bride would be my guess. Now, I could say, well, if they hit that as a neutral, they could come back to it in the future. I may do it. Um, I'm trying to think of, but then there's conductor. So so this is a blue card. I definitely don't want them hitting that. So what should um, so what should I do? Well, this is a tough one. We can go a few different ways on it. Um, Now we can think a little bit deeper into the mother cares. You could say maybe family, but that doesn't really link these other words. Okay, so let's go back and double check something. Let's go back and check. What else do we have here? We have a place, right? We have two places here. I'm gonna regroup them. Whoops. I'm gonna group them. It's not what I wanted to do. I'm gonna take my house, I'm gonna cut that, and I'm gonna put that next to Hawaii. Okay, so we've got Hawaii and house. And then um okay, yeah, I'm just putting some space in between them. Okay. So um so we've got our place. We have here glacier and seal. Well, I think seals can also, this is kind of interesting because as I'm thinking about it, a glacier, if we go over to what is it made out of? Water. Now we also have water with Hawaii. We have that seals swim in the water. Um, so so where is we located in the water? All right, so I'm seeing some similarities there. Oh, now hook. Now this is interesting because a hook with fishing could be in the water, right? So see, I'm breaking these clues down. Well, let's take a look over here. Okay, now we have mermaid. Now you can see how all these words, while different, there's like strange little crossovers, right? So we've got mermaid. also over here, that's associated with water. So I'm not sure about using the water clue, but let me see. And you could put water in a bowl, but will my team guess that? Hmm. Hmm. What to do, what to do. Okay, so let's think about this here. We make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay. Okay, so. Oopsie. Okay, so. Let's see, I've got face, note, pat, cap. Let's see, we've got hook. Let's see, so, but then spoon is there, which could go with bowl, right? And that's a blue card. Embassy, so sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe we can't group them, but I think what I would start out with, even though that bride is out there on the board, it is a neutral card. Whoops, that wrong column. There we go. That's a neutral card. So if I gave, instead of conductor, I'm going to give the clue lady or woman. Say that. Okay. Now this one, this one is probably going to get hit because the team, I'm going to give woman and I'm going to say 3, but the team's going to go, uh-oh, we see 4. So what's most likely going to happen is this, and I'm trying to think of something else that I could use here. But this bride is going to get hit, but it's neutral. So whatever one that the teams don't hit, they can come back to it, right? That's why I'm going to give that one early because they're going to need those extra turns in order to get it. Okay. All right. So we've taken care of that one. Now let's go back and look at our other 6 words over here, right? So while the team's working on that, we've got some things here kind of associated a little bit with water, can be used for water, right? So again, I'm thinking about what it looks like, what it does, what color, if there's a common color, because if it was like grass, then it's green, right? Unless your green, your grass is dead and brown like mine often is, and they end up spraying it green. Don't get me started on that. And then we have now we have a little bit more water here. Let's see if we can use water. Let's see what else is over here on the board. So we have that mermaid. So if we said water, they're going to hit that mermaid. That's going to be the blue team. We don't want that to happen. But we have glacier here and seal. And then let's see, and then we have hook. Hawaii can also be can also be associated with water. So so this is a tough one. I'm trying to think actually. You've got me. So because when I say animal with a seal, so now what else is a seal? Because I'm thinking of the animal, but a seal can also be a seal on goes on a paper goes a seal on a piece of paper, right? So now I'm thinking of other definitions because we kind of have to. And then glacier, you can slide. You can, I'm thinking of what else I can do with it. You can slide on it because it's a big block of ice, right? So I don't know if we're actually going to go and slide on a glacier, but but because, ooh, I disconnected me to do that. Oh, no. Yeah, okay, good. They gave me the same words. I thought they were different. Okay, so. Um. So you know what? I'm gonna try. So what's the word I'm gonna try here? I'm gonna try and say slides. Okay, slides. Because you can slide on the glacier, a seal will slide on the ice. I'm gonna see if that would work. So this is where I'm thinking about things that are in most closest relation, right? First, I was thinking about what it is, then what it does, what it looks like. And this is my process for how I'm breaking these things down. So I'm going to try slides. Um, so, you know, mermaid might come up, but because I'm saying slides versus water, I would expect my team to kind of think about, well, why didn't I just say water or ice? I want them to kind of deduce that. Where if you think of a glacier that you can slide on it, a seal could slide on it, or it can go with a piece of paper. Now, here's what's stopping me from the seal with paper. We also have note here. So if you had a piece of note paper, a seal could go on that. So I have to watch out for that. Let's see. Okay, so let's see. Now let's look at our other ones. We've got Hawaii and house. Could I use um place or vacation, right? Place or vacation. People go to Hawaii for vacation. Not me, but I wish. But could vacation be used? Yeah, you have a vacation house or Hawaii's a vacation. Let's see. Hmm. Um, I don't see anything interfering with that. So a vacation house. So we would just need to um, get the team to think about vacation house versus uh, a vacation embassy. Well, now here's where they might think if I put vacation, because they might think that if you go to an embassy, if you need a visa or a passport to go somewhere. So um, that could uh, that could get in my way. And even if I said place, an embassy could be considered a place like Hawaii and house are. So, so that one can be iffy, and I'm trying to, so now I'm trying to think of anything else. Uh, I might have this to do, depending on what my team is saying as I'm listening or playing the game. Um, we might have, and if we said travel, they may think embassy as well. So let's see if I said maybe I say relaxation. I wonder if I could use something like that because now I'm thinking what you do at those places. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. What, so besides where it's located, what do you do there? If I'm at home, I'm relaxing. Okay, so is there anything that could interfere? So I'm going to say relaxation, and I'm wondering if my team would pick that up. Again, I would be giving these clues as words are being taken away so that my team would have fewer to deduce from to where Hawaiian house could make more sense too. So sometimes we need to wait to give some clues that might be, because the other team may end up taking that embassy off the board for me too, where I could then use vacation. So, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to yet. Okay, so then we have hook and bowl. Oh. Now, a hook could be plastic, right? As we said, a bowl could be plastic. I know I have some plastic bowls. A bowl could be, it could be metal, but usually if you have a piece of, a bowl in your kitchen, you know, it might be a wood bowl, it might be a, you know, some kind of china, some kind of porcelain. I'm not exactly sure what they make bowls out of. Okay, so this is coming from me now. My team might know, but off the top of my head, I don't. So, something breakable. It is breakable. Okay, when we're thinking about it. Now we come back to our compound words over here. So I can do one-offs. I can say super for Super Bowl, and I can say captain for Captain Hook. So let's see if there's any crossover here. Yeah, so we're not sure. So it may come down to what's left on the board when I'm ready to give the clue. So I might even say catch. I might even say catch for my clue. Because a hook, you catch something, a bowl can catch the water, but again, it would depend on how many words are left on the board. So the main point that I'm trying to get through, yes, it can be hard to link the words. We don't want to beat ourselves up about it, but we can write them down, we can manipulate them, we can think about what they are. But my suggestion is to think about them in the most general way and to think about um, what would be most applicable to your team. Because remember, it's not just about how you're thinking about it and your knowledge. You need to think about what's general enough that my team is going to think about it. All right, so I'm going to end it here. Going to try to keep coming up with some tips. I'll make my template as soon as I'm done with it, available for download if you want to use it, or of course, you can just write those words down, manipulate them, write down the list, whatever makes the most sense for you. I hope you found this helpful. See you again next time. Bye.